What is going on, everybody? Chuck Hook here, and just a couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight. Not much has really happened in terms of this whole voter fraud thing. I think they're in court or something today in PA. The lawyers really haven't released anything yet, so nothing's really happening on that front. I thought maybe something would happen today, but it doesn't look like it. Before I kind of dive into that and just a few other things, and you could see this little chart I have. This is I was talking about this yesterday. Was this bellwether thing? So if you see, these are I guess uh, 17 counties that voted for winning presidential candidate in an astounding, I think it was 148 out of 153 times, including 100% five times for the five different presidents: 84, 96, 2000, 2012, and 2016. So they're predictive bellwethers. And this is uh, Trump. And as you can see, only one, Delaware, which would make sense, went for Biden. So uh, just another case of just some fuckery going on that just doesn't make any lick of sense um, on this election. And I think, I really don't know where they're going with these cases because, they're challenging stuff in like Nevada, they're challenging stuff in Michigan and Pennsylvania. And I don't know what the real end game is with that. Um, because if this Dominion thing is real and they have all this evidence on that, I don't understand why they're kind of burning steam on this other stuff going on here with these cases like in PA and everything. It just doesn't really make too much sense. Um, so having said that, before I kind of dive more deeply into today, so they had these again. Um, they had these slobs at Twitter and Facebook and whatever testifying before the Senate again, and wake me up when something happens because at this point, I don't know how many times these people have been in front of them, and you get your Cruz and this few other people that'll grill into them, and they mention um, this protection act that they have, whether or not they're a publisher and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know the ins and the outs of it, but in the end, nothing's going to happen. And really, the only way uh, to kind of fix it is to have competition. And I think Parler is the competition for Twitter. I don't know if Facebook has a competition, and obviously Google's got such a grip. Pretty much everything you do, e- email, search engines, YouTube, everything, PayPal. I mean, they're into everything. So unless Google should really be broken up, uh, and the Twitter and Facebook really should be regulated. They should really be treated like a public utility at this point. So yeah, it's getting to the point where when you finally decide to actually do something, then stop bringing these people in just for the dog and pony show because it's getting pretty tiresome at this point. Um, I don't think that grilling these people when they don't even have answers to questions anyway. I watched one of them was grilling this Zuckerberg, and uh I mean he oh well, I'll get that to you later, I can get back to you later, I can get what's the fucking point of this? I mean, do something or don't do something. It's like either do something and regulate them, or just leave them the fuck alone and hope that competition comes out. I mean, I don't understand what else you could really do at this point. I mean, it's stupid. So anyway, so that's pretty much that. Uh, there was another video where Lindsey Graham is fist bumping Kamala Harris. I'm getting sick and tired of the bullshit. The right's not for you and the left's not for you. And if these people on the left, if they would just see through the bullshit, the media has been just dogpiling on Trump for the past 4 years. And if you don't think that there's something wrong with that, that they're doing it for a purpose, obviously Trump must be doing something right. If the media is just trying to just trounce him nonstop, media, social media, everybody. Um, I just don't understand why nobody sees through the bullshit and stop with the orange man bad crap and actually see that the guy's trying to do something for the country instead of being another right or left, uh, you know, mouthpiece that gets nothing done anyway. It's they're all in cahoots together, and I think the sooner people realize that look, they're not for you. They are not for you. Okay, having the Republicans in there isn't going to do shit. You had Bush in there. You had, he was in there twice, and look what happened with that. You had 9/11. Okay, you had the recession. Gas prices were $4 a gallon. Obama comes in, and nothing really changed. Nothing really happened. You know. So it's not like anybody that comes in there is actually doing anything. Trump is literally the only person that actually did anything. He stood up to China. Um, he didn't go to war with Iran, and now they were saying something like Trump wanted to um, do something like hit one of their facilities or something. And I will bet dollars to donuts that was something that Israel wanted. But I don't understand why Trump is still doing Israel's bidding, or even listening to that and entertaining that when basically Netanyahu just came out and congratulated Biden, even though it's not been certified yet. So I don't get that. I think that Jared Kushner, that's the biggest problem in the whole uh, administration. That guy, I mean, just bad news, folks. Um, it's really getting to a point where um, it really doesn't matter who's even in here anymore, because my biggest concern really is not flooding this country with a bunch of third world shit. That's like my biggest concern, because I have kids and I don't want them to grow up in a third world shithole. And when you go to these major cities, that's basically what it is, because that's basically what's there. A lot of that is living in the major cities, and you could see how poorly run these major cities are. San Francisco, Chicago, New York. I mean, I think there was a. It's just it's ridiculous what's going on, and at this point, that's my big concern, because don't forget, they're going to come in here, they're going to leech off of everybody. I think we have more than enough people cutting lawns. I think we have more than enough bus boys. I mean, Christ, you can't even uh, go to I mean, you can't even go to a restaurant, so you don't even need a bus boy at this point. So we don't even need them. Um, how many more people do we need mowing lawns? You know, there's plenty of blue collar workers, black and white and legal Hispanics here that are ready, willing, and able to work. We don't need more. It's enough. We don't need people from Somalia. We don't need that shit. Why are we going to try and change this country into a third world? I mean, I think we're already there, to be honest with you. I think we are at third world stage at this point. I think we were just beyond being fixed um, for a while, and I think that kind of ended in the '90s. Once the '90s ended, I think we started gravitating towards third world bullshit. And the fact that this election is what's going on with this election just certifies that we're nothing more than a banana republic at this point. We can't even get that right. And the longer this drags out, the worse it's really going to be for the image. And even if Biden does get in, um, no one's, especially myself. He's not my president, and I'll put a sign out in front of my house that he's not my president, and I'll keep it out there because that's just how I feel. Um, I think it's just it's really getting bad because it's only been 2 weeks. So I think today is now 2 weeks from the election. So I don't know, when the ball started rolling on all this Dominion stuff. Uh, Let me see if I could find. Um, so this is basically a sworn affidavit by a whistleblower. Um, Let me blow it up a little bit here, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but basically the quick rundown here is that this is something that was developed in Venezuela. Um, this is kind of back when Hugo Chavez was there and wanted it designed that it could change the vote of each voter without being detected. Um, Generally, this is this whole Smartmatic thing, um, that in 2013 that they used this system to manipulate and change the results for the person to succeed Hugo Chavez. Uh, Blow this up a bit. Nicolas Maduro ran against Capriles Radovsky. In the control room, there were multiple digital TV screens for results. Voting results were fed into that room and on displays. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, election day, he was ahead of Maduro by 2 million votes when Maduro and his supporters realized that his lead, the size of his lead, were worried that they were in crisis mode and would lose the election. The machines uh, reported information, blah, 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 so a decision was made to reset the entire system. Maduro and his supporters ordered the network controllers to take the internet itself offline. It basically said by the time the system operators finished, they had achieved a convincing but narrow victory of 200,000 votes for Maduro. So basically, the other guy, this Radovsky, was up 2 million votes, and then when they shut it off and they did all this crap, he was down 200,000 votes. So this is basically coming from a whistleblower, um, for that I guess witnessed all this stuff firsthand. Um, Dominion is one of 3 major companies that tabulates votes in the U.S. They use the same method, same software designed for storage, transfer, computation of voter ID, data, voting data, blah, blah, blah. Dominion and Smartmatic did business together. So you get the picture. I mean, it's all pretty much tied into the bullshit that's going on here. I mean, I don't know. Um, I don't know how solid this is. I mean, obviously, this is a so-called whistleblower. It seems like he has a pretty good amount of information here. He says he's alarmed because of what is occurring in plain sight during the 2020. The circumstances and events are eerily reminiscent of what happened with Smartmatic changing the votes in 2013. What happened in the U.S. was that the vote counting was stopped in 5 states using Dominion software. At that time, the vote counting stopped. So this is what we were talking about and I showed you the other picture when I was going to bed. Uh, and this is, let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. This is when he was up in PA, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin. Now, I don't know if these are the 5 states, but that's what I think it was. He was up big. This is when they stopped counting votes. So here we see the state of the race when they stopped counting votes at 10 p.m. So even though I didn't go to bed till like 2, these states here were not being counted. So basically, from 10 p.m. till I went to bed, this is what was on the screen. Nothing changed. So that's pretty much that. Oh, okay. I have worked in gathering information, researching. Oh wait, so when the vote reporting resumed the very next morning, there was a very pronounced change in voting in favor of the opposing candidate, Joe Biden. I've worked in gathering information, researching, blah 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 blah. Due to these events, I contacted a number of reliable, intelligent ex-coworkers of mine that are still informants and work with the intelligence community. I asked them to give me information that was up to date information. So this is pretty much what this guy is talking about is generally what happened, for the election with this Maduro. The same thing is happening here, and okay, so they have this information. That's okay, fine. But the question is, you still got to prove this is what happened. You still got to dissect this shit, and you have to prove that this vote switching occurred. Now, I don't know. Now they say the FBI. Oh, the FBI. Oh, they're investigating it. Oh, FBI isn't doing shit. The FBI is not a. They're supposed to be the middleman. They're not supposed to be right. They're not supposed to be left. But they're just supposed to be for the law, and they're not. They are not. I think we knew with this whole James Comey stuff. I mean, geez, the guy literally is out there wearing a Biden Harris shirt with a Biden Harris cup of coffee and a Biden Harris pen next to him. Um, I don't think he is, partisan in any way. He's completely for the left. So we knew where he stood when a lot of this stuff went on, and I think I remember back in 2016 when they reopened the case into Hillary. Um, I think it's like they had to do that just to save face, but in the end they said, yeah, we found nothing else. So they kind of, but I think little did they know the damage that they did. I think that did a lot of damage to Hillary because that was like 2 weeks up until the election when they did that. But I think they kind of had to save face. But again, they went back and basically said nothing was happening anyway. So there's that. The other thing that's kind of weird, there's this like diagram here, which is kind of interesting that I saw. It kind of gives you a whole, uh, just like a spider web of how things are connected. Like Dominion is the Cital SOE software, um, Premier Election Solutions, Sequoia Voting Systems. I don't know who this Melissa Caron is. There's people. This Eric Coomer. Um, so there's people that are kind of connected to this, and then again, Brownstein, Farber, High and Sheck, and it's connected to Nancy Pelosi. Um, it's connected, somehow, some way to the Clinton Foundation. I guess they give money into this. Um, so there's a lot. There's this Kamala Harris kind of connection here. Obviously, Joe Biden's in there as well, and this is where the Smartmatic comes in. So the transition team, Department of Homeland Security role, this Peter Neffinger. So this is basically tied to Biden, and that's where this Smartmatic comes in. So you can see how this all ties in. You can just kind of take a look. So I mean, a pretty good web of shit going on here. That's for damn sure. Pretty interesting to track all of this stuff that's happening. Dominion voting systems. A lot of stuff tied to that. It's kind of like a crime syndicate, like it's kind of like when you look at a crime graph. So here's this other one that pre-election New York Times outlines fraud. And here's the funny thing, because I think there were a lot of stations that were talking about how vulnerable the voting systems were back, going back, especially when Trump won. There was a big cry that he cheated, Russian collusion, all this kind of stuff. So, like New York Times reported on it. Um, New York City purge. It's a lot of stuff going on. BBC article, How to Spot Voter Fraud. And then pre election, you had ballots gone missing. Um, a lot of the media misdirecting people. Poll watchers were intimidating. Fact check, Trump spreads unfounded claims. So you had, for 4 years, most of the media, including Fox News, with the exception of a few people, you had a few people, a lot of stations basically just bashing Trump left and right. Then you get this all fact checker bullshit. So anytime Trump takes a piss, they're fact checking it. Um, Now, at anytime Trump tweets, they have this little disclaimer about that, and even on YouTube. So you got YouTube doing it, Twitter doing it. I think Facebook does it. I don't go on Facebook, so I don't know, but I'm guessing Facebook does it. They all have the same shit, basically telling you the AP's called it for Biden. Trump's a big bad liar. Here's how you can learn about election fraud, and then I'm sure it'll take you to the Minions page where it'll tell you, oh, it's here's the misinformation that you've been hearing. So I'm sure it'll go there. Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstance. Hillary Clinton says this, so we know about that. Um, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. Whatever the end count is, Biden will be elected. Nancy Pelosi. Deceased cat gets voter registration application in the mail. Interesting, huh? But um, I think the issue is that a lot of these things, like, I mean, it was all, you're getting hit on all sides. It's like you're in the bunker, you got people firing at you, you got aircraft bombing you, you got people throwing grenades at you, you got tanks coming at you, you got ships firing from the ocean. You got ion cannons in space firing down. I mean, he was getting hit with everything but the kitchen sink. Everything but the kitchen sink, okay? And the fact that this guy got, what, 9 million more votes than 2016 after the just, I mean, throwing everything at him from left, right, and I mean, you know, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of like you watch it. It's like these it's like boxing where you get a match where the guy's just fighting off everything, but he's just winning, and then the judges give it to the other guy for God knows what reason. It's like the fix is completely in. President wins Florida and Ohio, PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, NC. All stop counting. Most of these are tight red in most election trackers. This top one here, can't really highlight anything or do a pointer. I guess I can maybe edit. Should probably open this in Paint so I can kind of show. Well, that didn't fucking work. Oh. Where's my? Here we go. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna get a little fancy schmancy here. I'm gonna see if I could draw some circles around something. There we go. That's not what I wanted to do. Cut this. Let's see if I can do it here. That's better. President wins Florida, Ohio, in Ohio. So he won those on election night. And then you had this. So it was PA, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. So yeah, it was on that list where they all stopped counting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the end game is here. Obviously, it seems like um, it's got to be all tied to this Dominion shit. That's where I think the meat and potatoes are. The the problem is that this Dominion stuff. I mean, this if it does come out, I mean that this is all true. And look, I'm an optimist. I'm gonna or at least for this, I'm kind of being an optimist, but don't be surprised if this just kind of falls through because the powers that be have a lot of power. So don't be surprised if this falls through. I'll say that much because I have absolutely no trust in the system whatsoever. Don't save that. I think that's pretty much all I had. Again, not much really happening today, unfortunately. So, but we'll see what happens tomorrow, and I'll come back with another video, and as I find some more information as this kind of progresses, and we'll kind of see where it ends up. But we'll see what happens. But for now, have a good night, boys. Later.